Let's continue. Okay, so on number 16, it is already in the form that we need for graphing. So first thing we're going to do is identify our slope. Our slope is -1/3 and our y-intercept is 2. Remember, his name is y-intercept, so that's where you start, on the y-axis. The slope is like a GPS. The top number tells me up or down. Because it's negative on this one, it's going down. The bottom number is left and right. Because it's positive, we're going to the right. So you go to where y is 2, then go down 1 and over 3, and draw it in. On 17, we have to get it in the right form first. So I'm going to start off by isolating the y's. I'm going to leave the 3y exactly where it is, and I'll move the 2x and the 9 over to the other side. Now I'm going to divide every single piece by 3. So I end up with y equals -2/3 x plus 3. That means our slope is -2/3 and our y-intercept is 3. That means our y-intercept, or where we start, is 3, and our GPS is telling us we're going to go down 2 and to the right 3 to get from point to point. So let's start. The y-intercept is at 3, and from there we're going to go down 2 and over 3. That was a negatively sloped line also, and he looks like it. The next one looks like we're at circles now. We're going to have to identify the center, radius, and then graph, and make sure we label the center. This one is already in the standard form for a circle, so I'm going to start by writing the center down. It is at 2, -1. Remember, they come out with the opposite sign when you build the center. And the radius, if this is r squared, r is 4. I'm going to go to 2, -1, mark and label my point. From there, I will go 1, 2, 3, 4 in every direction. Make a little X, and then draw it in as best you can. For number 19, we're actually going to have to get it in the right form. So let me make some room over here. I'm going to work on getting him in the right format. We're going to group our X's together first. Leave a little room. Group our Y's together. Leave a little room. And move our 15 over to the other side. He becomes a positive. Now we're going to borrow a little snippet from the completing the square technique. Finding 1/2 of -2 is -1. We're going to take that -1, square it, and add it once in that parentheses and once on the other side. For the y terms, I'm going to find 1/2 of 6. That's a +3. We'll take that +3, square it, and add it once there and once on the other side. We did that on purpose so that we can write a perfect square for each of these first parentheses. What is being squared in the first position here? An x. What is being squared in the first position there? A -1. What is being squared in the first position here? A y. And in the last position, a +3. On the other side, all I have to remember is that any number that's squared becomes a positive. That becomes a +1, that becomes a +9, for a total of 25. Now we can identify our center. Because they come out with the opposite sign, my center is at 1, -3 with a radius of 5. So 1, -3. I'm going to mark it, write his name down. Then I will go up 5 units, I will go down 5 units, to the right 5 units, and back to the left. And draw my circle in as nice as I can. Okay, we've got two more. This page. Excuse me. Now, when you're finding the inverse, there were some directions on the homework assignment that you got in class. First was to make sure that the whole thing is written in terms of x and y. Remember, a function's name is just y. Then you start off by doing a swap. That means everywhere that they had a y, we're going to write an x. Everywhere that they had an x, we're going to make it a y, and then solve for y. I'm going to start by moving the 1 back over to the left-hand side. Now to get the y isolated, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So I'm going to end up with an x plus 1 over 3. But I do want you to write it as an inverse for full credit. So you're going to say the inverse of f is equal to x plus 1 over 3. I'm not going to ask you to verify or anything, so that's all I want. Let's do the next one. It's also an inverse. Look over the sheet that you did for homework, or at least the examples that we did together in class for the exam. First, start off by swapping the variables. The x's become y's and the y's become x's. Then solve for y. If I'm trying to get the y out from underneath a radical, I'm going to square it. But if I do it to one side, I'm going to do it to the other. On the left-hand side, that becomes x squared. On the right side, the square root and the square cancel, and I end up with a y plus 6. To solve for y there, all I have to do is move the 6 over to the other side, and then write it as an inverse. The inverse is x squared minus 6. In the next video, we'll look at section 1.6.